Here we go. Yeah. Okay. I'm gonna dink into the settings here for a second here, so you guys will see a break, and then I will come back. This is gonna be a pretty quick one. This is just kind of, if you saw the little Steam startup there, you can see that I am 0% complete. This is the first time I fired up this game. It just loaded for the first time on my computer. So I thought that before I even start playing this, I'd have a quick one on my expectations for this game and what I'm expecting to get out of this. I just thought that might be kind of fun to do before I even start playing through. Sounds fun to you? Catch me after the break. Okay, so it doesn't have any options to turn off the music, so I'm going to assume that for the sake of content creators everywhere, they didn't make that music licensed. So with the crescendo of the music going on behind me, I just thought that would be kind of cool to talk about my expectations. So with Bethesda, I'm not a big hater of Bethesda. They've done some good, they've done some bad, but they're no worse or better than any other big game dev company. And they've made some of my favorite games of all time. Loved Skyrim, loved most of the Fallout series. But with that said, they've kind of had some whiffs lately, and one of those whiffs actually might be partially responsible for Squadron 42 being delayed as long as it is, because Chris Roberts absolutely wouldn't be able to handle a hit like Bethesda did. So to give you an example, everybody always brings up the 500 million or 600 million that Star Citizen has made, or CIG has made thus far. Bethesda likely made 400 million in a weekend selling this game. So this is a much different scale of a production company. That 600 over 12 years seems pretty small when you consider that they just made like probably 3 to 400 million in like a week or a weekend. It's going to be a pretty big haul. And from what I've heard so far from the few people that I know that had early access, it's actually worth it. So I'm really looking forward to this. This is sort of going to be one of my last comments on Star Citizen while reviewing and playing this game. Is these are two different game genres. Starfield is very much, this is what I'm expecting at least, very much an RPG. You are the star of the story revolves around you. It's a cultivated experience that the devs have created for you, the single player, to play in. So there's sort of a main story, there's a bunch of smaller stories around it. And that's something that you can't really get from Star Citizen. What I expect to not get from Starfield that I can get from Star Citizen is the absolute sandbox nature of Star Citizen. The fact that I can jump in, play with other people, which obviously Starfield is single player, play with other people, engage with other people, and just kind of log in and do our own stories. So there's missions in Star Citizen, but there's not really an overarching story. There will be in Squadron 42, but not Star Citizen. So I expect that kind of manufactured kind of storyline. That's why I'm playing an RPG over a massively multiplayer sandbox game, or what will one day hopefully be a massively multiplayer sandbox game. So what do I expect from Starfield specifically? So on that note, I expect Bethesda, one of the things they're really good at is sort of character creation and the character arc, building your character over time. Even newer games like Cyberpunk largely kind of built a system very similar to the systems that Bethesda and Fallout, before it became a Bethesda game, kind of pioneered, and before that, tabletop role-playing games. So again, it's kind of a role-playing game experience, which is what I'm specifically looking for. I really kind of want a fun RPG. I'm not expecting an amazing story. Bethesda can make some engaging stories, like Fallout New Vegas was a pretty engaging storyline, but I don't really need that. It's more about my character, building the character that I want, and sort of seeing how the character that I build over time interacts with the story that they've created. I don't expect that story to be winning an Oscar anytime soon. I'm certainly not going to win one as an actor. Bethesda is very good at making detailed worlds. So sometimes overly detailed. Like, I expect there to be loot items that I just stuff my pockets with everything I find in the first 5 minutes, and it'll never leave my pocket because it was just this little item that I could pick up, like potato chips or something like that. I fully expect there to be, well, okay, you can likely heal by eating food, I would assume. I don't know yet. So you might keep a bunch of food in there just to eat it all when you get into combat. But anyway, I expect there would be tons of little details like that, just little things hidden away, not even necessarily Easter eggs, but these games are great at world building. And it's one of those things that, okay, I lied, CIG could take a page from, that I am sure there will be locations and little areas and things like that that will tell a story just by the way that they're made up, just by the way they're laid out, little tiny details here and there. CIG could take a page from that, because at the moment the verse is kind of sterile. So I'm kind of hoping to step away from that sterile verse. The benefit of this being a single player game is that they can make a much more detailed experience for you as a player, because they only need to worry about the perceptions of a single player. So they can build everything around that. I don't expect this game to be seamless. I expect there to be loading screens in between things, just because the engine that Starfield is built on is probably about 5 years behind the soda, I would guess, state of the art. And so I expect the graphics to be good, but not mind-blowingly good. Like 5 years ago, they would have been like, oh my god, they can do this with computers, or maybe 10 years ago. Again, Bethesda isn't known for pushing the boundaries on that. I do expect a lot of building mechanics that'll be kind of cool. Obviously, I've seen a few of the ads. I've tried to keep myself as spoiler free as possible, but knowing this game exists means that some information is going to come back to me. So I know you can build outposts. I know you can build ships. So obviously building is going to be something key in this game. I'm not sure I will play this game to the extent that I'll fully be able to explore things like that, just given my interest in Star Citizen and the fact that they're going to be dropping a new patch relatively soon. I do want to go through and be doing playthroughs on that. And unlike a lot of the bigger content creators, this is a hobby. This isn't my career or my life. I have other things going on. So, I mean, I have an hour or two to devote to gaming, not necessarily in a week, but not as much time as I would like. But it does mean that I kind of have to focus down and kind of say, okay, I'm going to play this, or I'm going to play this, or very specifically kind of measure out my time. Finally, last thing, it's a Bethesda game. It's gonna have jank. It's gonna have mechanics that work weird. It's gonna have weird little bugs that kind of destroy a game session. You'll have to go back to a much earlier save because you walk down the wrong hallway, or you'll get stuck in like a figurative black hole. Hopefully, not a literal one. But that's what I expect from this game. So this playthrough will be a little different if you've watched any of my Star Citizen stuff. I probably won't be down here in the corner, just because I want you to be able to see the game that I'm playing. I'll still add my commentary over the top. I'll probably edit it a bit more than the Cyberpunk playthrough, just because the Cyberpunk playthrough was specifically just to kind of learn about editing and timing and voice and recording a game while I was playing it, just to kind of get used to that. I released that far enough out that I figured not a lot of people would watch it, so I could watch it and kind of be like, okay, I need to tighten up this and this, just because, I don't know, artists blame me for that. But yeah, should be a fun time. Want to stick around for it. I've got the different intro if you're more into the Star Citizen stuff and you don't care about Starfield. If you see that little line at the very beginning with the whole Dawn Stealer where I totally imitated Starfield, feel free to skip it. If you're just here for Starfield, feel free to join in and watch that. Otherwise, see you out there. Catch me next time.